Hey, I'm Javon Simpson. You're watching Speak Up. Now, for this week's topic, we'll actually be talking about this topic in which I feel as though we have conversated on so many times in our society that I view it as a splinter in the heel of an athlete seeking to make progress with his or her life. That's a weird analogy, isn't it? But let's get to it. Speak up. So the topic of grooming and attire is one that has been around for quite some time now, from Miaga school. Might not be that long ago, but still from Miaga school. And I'm pretty sure the conversation, the arguments, the problems were there even before that. But in today's day, you find that there are a whole lot of resurfacing of the issue. Every school year or every time there's a start to a school term, you find that the arguments resurface, you find that the opinions resurface, you find that the videos and persons being displeased about them being unfairly treated and being locked out of institutions and being told to change this or change that or groom this. Persons feel as though they're not being treated fairly, and that has long been the conversation. Now, it's time for me to speak up about it. Keep in mind though, my view on this topic might not be in line with those that are seemingly popular and out there on the forefront. I strongly believe that as a society, because we seek to be so unruly at times, we always tend to have an issue with conforming to any rules at all. It doesn't matter where the rules are created or where the rules are expected to be followed. We just have several issues with them even before the rules are even created in some instances. That's just the crazy thing about it. What's my view on it, you might ask? I believe strongly that we ought to take several steps back, have several seats around several tables, and think properly about what it is that we want for our society, what it is that we want for our children, and what it is that we want our future to look like as a country, as a society. It doesn't matter if it is a third world country or a second one or a first one, it doesn't matter where, right? We fall on that table. What matters is how it is that we see ourselves and how it is that we believe we're going to move forward as a society, as a people, as a nation. People, because you don't see the need for a particular rule does not mean that the rule is nonsensical. Because the rule does not make you feel comfortable, it doesn't mean that the rule is again nonsensical. A lot of the rules in which persons are seeking change all of a sudden, a lot of these rules have been there for decades. A lot of these institutions that uphold these rules, that have these rules and have these values in their handbooks, these institutions are decades old. In some instances, some of these institutions are even over a century old. And all of a sudden, people decide that because the times are changing, because the tides, because the wind, because people, because the voices, because the opinions have changed to an extent for some people, then it means that all manner of civilization ought to be changed along with it. I'm not of that opinion. I'm not of that view. Despite me not having any specific issue with anybody wearing their hair in an afro or wearing extensions or whatever it is, I'm not going to tell you that I don't have an objection to it being worn in schools, especially at the secondary level or lower, simply because I do have an issue with it. What is the issue, you might ask? Why is it my business? It is my business because it is the society in which I live in. It is my business because it is affecting me, whether directly or indirectly. It is my business because it is a future being dictated for the nation in which I'm a part of, in which I live in which I call home. People, again, you cannot seek to change a rule, or you should not seek to change a rule, rather, simply because you don't like the rule. Sure, let me not say if, when I purchase my Porsche, or when I purchase my pickup Jeep, right? And I want to go 200, whether it is in a 50 zone or not. What prevents me from going 200 in that 50 zone is the fact that it is simply marked 50 zone. And the reason why it is marked a 50 zone is simply because persons who are versatile in that area would have done their assessments and would have found it to be necessary to go at a minimal speed in that particular location. If you bring schools into the mix, if you bring school rules into the mix, then we can assess it just the same or similarly. Javon, what in the world are you talking about? Let me say and say clearly. I've never seen a rule, and I'm saying I've never seen a rule, created overnight by an institution to reflect personal feelings of one individual. I've never seen it. If you have, you can put it in the comment section and let me know, because I've never seen it, right? What am I getting at? I'm getting at the fact that because these schools are decades old or centuries old in some instances, we have to look at the fact that these institutions, these teachers, these administrators have seen situations, have experiences with certain things being done, and they have seen the results of certain things being done, and therefore it is because of those reasons why it is that they create the rules in which they create. And not only them individually, but collectively as a group, they have created certain rules, they have vetted certain rules, and they have said, here what? These are the rules. While I was in high school, let me give you a little story. While I was in high school, there was this rule. I don't know if it's still a rule there over at the Red and Blue Institution, the Sprint Factory, Camperdown High School. Big up on yourself. I don't know if it is still a rule there where you're not supposed to carry your cell phone to school. There was a rule of that nature to say, do not carry your cell phone to school. Many of us as students broke that rule, even I. And we found ways to try and hide the phone to bring it into school because we thought to ourselves that, yo, there's a big need for the phone. Now, what is the big need? Let's be honest. The big need was to message a bridging or message a girl while school are going, whether it be throughout lunchtime or perhaps sometimes even in the midst of class. But guess what? One of the things or rationales in which we would have used at that time is that, hey, parent need to get through to me because, whatever the situation is, let's say the parent is flying out and they need to tell you where to go after school, I don't know, or who gonna pick you up after school, that type of thing, some last minute communication type of thing, and you say, here what, this is the rationale as to why it is that I need to have my phone with me. And sometimes if it is that you bring that rationale to the dean of discipline or to the principal, then it might be excused for that particular time. But several persons would have taken advantage of that, and of course them come in with the same things, and parents might come and say, yo, my pitney need to have him phone, or need to have our phone because we need to try and reach her, them have war in the community, them have this, them have that, them have whatever it is. And as I said before, some of those complaints and some of those rationales are actually genuine rationales and genuine things being brought forward. But why did that rule exist in the first place? What I realized as a child, as a teenager even, is that whenever there was a squabble, whenever there was an argument, whenever there was a fight on the school compound, you found that persons who believed that they were above life and everything else decided that they were going to call, text, or just communicate however they can by using the device. They're going to reach out to others beyond the parameters of the institution or of the school and try to get them to come and defend the thing. What is the thing? The ego. And many persons would have questioned it. Yo, why we need to leave a phone? Why we can't bring a phone? That's a rationale. Another rationale was that several persons were being robbed at the bus stops or on their way to the bus stop or on their way home off their devices. And some of these persons were standing up against the individuals that were seeking to rob them, and therefore they were jeopardizing their very own lives as children. And so that's another rationale as to why it is that the institution was implementing such rules or pushing forward such rules. Along with the fact that students were not only utilizing the phone by texting others while being in school, but they were also doing things that weren't necessary at the appointed time while being at school. So them take pictures and them take videos. And it's not just videos and pictures of themselves, but pictures and videos of teachers and administrators. And of course, back then we never really had the meme thing going on, but now you find that you have a whole lot of things going on as it pertains to meme and all these things. Take people picture and use them as a meme, and people not even know so them might get used as a meme until one day you just see a meme pop up on your phone with you. Or someone just say, hey, I've seen your face before. And you're like, really? Sure it's me? Yeah, sure it's me. And I say, yeah, look, I just got a message from my friend and they use your face as a sticker. You're somewhat of a popular individual, aren't you? You see it for the first time in your life. And either you faint or you stand tall and ask God for strength. These are some of the things that happen in our institutions. When it comes down to uniform, yeah, attire, right? I remember when I was in high school, whenever the big pants thing wasn't it, and still not it. But what I learned after a while was that there was a method to the thing. I realized that even me, when I was taking in my pants initially, the pants was being overly done, too close, too tight, just not neat. And so I realized that when I went to sixth form or lower sixth form, and I adjusted that in a sense. And I insisted that the tailor did things neat. No drawing up on my pants. No pencil foot nothing type of thing. Make the thing look neat. As a matter of fact, make the thing look like say you make it type of thing. But just make it close enough to my body. So I don't feel like the breeze is blowing me away. Right? And that's to show that I was breaking that rule too, until it reached a point where the school was being a bit more lenient with us. And they were now targeting persons that were doing it too much or overdoing it. And that's one of the things that we find happening in our society from time to time, that we overdo things. So we get an inch and we take a mile. And in our heads, we feel as though it is justified because that's just how we feel at that appointed time. And all of a sudden in this day and age, persons are, well, not all of a sudden, because we could have seen the build up, right? But what we see nowadays is that people just want to do as they feel. They don't want to have any sense of responsibility or accountability attached to anything in which they do. As a matter of fact, they just want to do as they feel. Just how them feel. So guess what? Today we're allowing extensions for the females. Guess what? Tomorrow the males say they want to wear it too. Guess what? Today we're allowing you to, have a little dye, make it look a little brown or a little bit darker than usual or whatever it is. Then tomorrow you hear them say they want to apply color, additional color, the pinks, the blues, the greens, the oranges, the purple. Then guess what? In some institutions, and just to give an example, in some institutions for the young ladies, you find that they allow the young ladies to wear knobs. But being the individuals that we are, that want to break rules consistently, we always find a way to break the rule. And so get leeway to wear knobs. You see them wearing some big old loops. Think of Joe Amick? Be more observant on the roads and you'll see what it is that I'm talking about. People, again, we ought to be very careful about the precedents in which we're setting when it comes on to rules and regulations, especially when it comes on to the younger generation. Because guess what? I believe that starting from my generation, we are the ones to be blamed. Because we are the uncles, we are the brothers, we are the aunts, we are the godmothers, the godfathers, the older persons that are basically in authoritative positions over these children now. And we are the ones going to school, want to fight off teacher, want to fight off principal, want to do this, want to do that, on behalf of our niece, on behalf of our nephew, just because we want to be in them good graces as them cool and hip uncle or them cool and hip aunt. It's not worth it. Because what it is that you're doing is that you're setting a precedence for themselves disrespect you at the end of the day. Because one day it's not the teacher that they're going to disrespect, but it's you. One day it's not the principal that they're going to tell about them parts. It is you. When you don't give them the leeway that they want. And I've seen it so many times. So many times. Best believe it. I'm not telling you no lie. And if you are willing to be honest, you can assess your very own situation or situations around you, and you will see that I'm not lying. We have to change it. We have to change it. Children are supposed to be children. Children are supposed to be guided, and guided to a right place or to a positive place. Let's not use our very own misconceptions and false ideologies and all these things and put it in the brains of our children and then expect them to be good citizens of tomorrow, when it is that we would have already robbed them of the opportunity to just be children, just be nicer to humans, and come out being nice humans that are now adults. Allow them to grow up and grow up wise. We had that opportunity to a great extent. If it is that we fail to take it up, let's not deprive them of it. Many of us have made decisions or didn't take up certain opportunities because we were misled. Let's not mislead this generation. Let's not mislead the next generation. Let's not mislead the next generation after that. Let's try to get in line, plumb line, as the Bible says. This has been another episode of Speak Up with Javon Simpson. Much love. Stay tuned for more. Take care. God bless.